This ancient relic is how Nintendo fans like me used to carry the Nintendo music around, because believe it or not, Nintendo used to publish their soundtracks on something called CDs, which, as you can see, are these compact discs they can insert into a music player and listen to the game's soundtrack whenever you wanted to. Now, Nintendo only published a handful of them, so there was plenty we couldn't listen to, but for its time, it was pretty amazing. Although, ironically, the one I have is N64 branded, when the N64 famously couldn't play CDs, so that's pretty funny. And also, even better, mine is actually built upside down. They actually replaced it for me with a correct one, which I somehow lost, so yeah, we're stuck with a broken one. Which maybe this whole thing serves as some kind of weird analogy for the N64 era, but I'm getting off track here. Point is, you young whippersnappers don't know how good you have it, and I'm starting to feel like Cranky Kong out here. Because having Nintendo music on your phone available anywhere is a total game changer. Now, I know this may not be news to you as the app is now officially a little over a year old, but over the past year, I feel like the app has really started to come into its own with a much stronger music library, which of course is the most important thing, though there are still some pretty notable gaps in there. Where in the hell Smash Brothers, for example. And they've also added some really good and maybe even dumb features, but they're dumb in a way that works perfectly for Nintendo and is the kind of thing only Nintendo could do, and I'm really glad that they're there. So as one who was using the app a bunch over the weekend while cleaning, I thought it'd be fun to go over what this app is doing well and maybe some areas in which it's still not doing well, which I'll hopefully address at some point, in a quick little video in case you haven't been paying attention to Nintendo music, because unlike Nintendo today, this app actually makes a ton of sense and it's well worth your time, and especially because it's a really good value as part of a service you probably already have, being Nintendo Switch Online. So how about we start off by showing off that brand new dumb feature I mentioned, which is kind of magical, because if you go to the playlist for the weather-based days in Animal Crossing, like say a sunny day or a rainy day, it has an option to play the hourly track. So if you tap it, it automatically syncs it to the current time on your phone and on your island, so you can remotely listen to the music playing on your island right now. How cool is that? It's such a dumb little thing, but it's such a cute little thing too, and I hope that they extend that to the other Animal Crossing games once they get added to Nintendo music as well. I would love to go back to my 64 island, or GameCube island I should say, and seeing what they're playing at that time of day. So that's a really cute feature. Also, did you know it has music from future games too? Kirby Air Riders isn't even out yet, and yet there are multiple tracks listed here, including the extended versions, so you can get a sneak peek of what they sound like in the game before the game's even out. How cool is that? Another great feature that's part of many of these soundtracks is how you can extend the time. In this playlist is already set to an hour, but you can set it to any amount of time you want, and that's something that no other music app can do, because game music is unique in that it's built to loop, by and large, and you can do that for a ton of these games where you can extend it to any amount of time you want, which again is perfect for music that is innately built to loop essentially endlessly. So I love that that's here. Furthermore, you can use this as a sleep timer if you want, so you can doze off to sleep while listening to bombastic Mario Galaxy music. How perfect. Maybe not that exact track. There are definitely better Mario Galaxy tracks we could be using instead. They even have pre-built playlists built exactly with a sleep timer in mind. You can bring up, say, the Forecast channel, which has music that is pretty conductive to going to sleep. Look how pleasant this is. So we can set the sleep timer to, 5 minutes, for instance. It even tells us how much time is left on it. So again, these playlists are perfect for it, because that's when it'll stop playing music as you hopefully soundly go to sleep. And playlists, in fact, are a fantastic feature of this app in general. I was recently listening to the spooky playlist they have here, because of course it's the spooky season, and it has a lot of music already built in or pre-sorted to fit the theme, which is great. And even cooler is that this music gets randomly resorted every day, so you can hop into the same playlist and hear a different selection of music that you may not have heard the previous day. So again, another really smart feature that only really Nintendo can do, thanks to it being their app. And speaking of playlists, it is fantastic how the app lets you create your own and even share them with others. How cool is that? Especially for Nintendo, letting you share things, what? So as you can see, I already made a whole bunch of playlists, as you may already know, themed to every composer in the app, or at least at the time that I stopped making these updates a few months ago. And it's been fantastic in that I can click into a playlist. Well, that one only had one, but let's go find David Wise here, and we can play every track that he's made since I created a playlist sorted around every music that was in the app at that time. There may be more now, since again I stopped updating these a few months ago. Unfortunately, I had to make those playlists as a direct response to a major problem the Nintendo Music app had, and still has even over a year later. which we'll get to in just a moment. But I do want to stress for now that I think this is a great app with even more potential into the future, which we'll get into with some of my critiques about it. But I do want to stress I think Nintendo Music is a really strong app, is doing all the right things, it knows what it is, and it's doing creative things that only Nintendo could do with an app of this nature, which, again, is something Nintendo today could take some lessons from. Now, let's get to my complaints. And number one, it's honestly the biggest one, and that is the lack of composer credit. The fact that no composers are credited anywhere in the app is not only a huge shame and unfortunate for the composers themselves who do deserve the credit. We actually interviewed a Nintendo composer who used to work on Nintendo soundtracks like Stone Race FX and Wario's Woods, who said herself she would like to see composers credited. So yeah, it's just the right thing to do. But beyond that, it would be a really useful thing for consumers as well. Not only would it be insightful to see what composers made which music, but it would also be great for sorting through them. Like if I could just tap on like David Wise's name or Koji Kondo or whoever else and see what other music that they composed, that'd be amazing, which is what I was trying to do with my playlist, which was just becoming too much of a hassle to keep up to date, unfortunately. Now Nintendo, with their infinite resources, shouldn't have this issue, plus they already have access to all the composer credits. So I would love for them to fix that in the future, as I think it would make the app that much better. Next, I have a small critique for how the app handles both the Japanese and international versions of some tracks, which, for one, it's awesome that Nintendo has both of them there. It's so great that we have the soundtracks for both regions, or any region that's relevant, included in the app. My complaint is that, one, I wish it was more obvious which track you had instead of burying the lead at the end of the title. Have a little like stamp or disclaimer, not even disclaimer, a little marker saying, hey, this is the Japanese or international version of the track. Secondly, I wish there was a little toggle. Maybe you can just tap the little icon that I want added that let you instantly toggle between regions. In fact, if you could do it from the part of the song you're in to see how it sounds in the other version, that'd be amazing. And that same critique applies to my next suggestion, being they should do the exact same thing with both the original releases of games and their remix. Thousand Year Door is another great example, where both soundtracks are available on the app, but there's no easy way to toggle back and forth between the two, which having that would be fantastic, so I could easily hear how it sounds in the original versus how it sounds in the remake. Next, once again, I think the ability to make your own playlists and share them is absolutely incredible. The downside is there's no way within the app to easily access other people's playlists, meaning if you don't come across someone's on social media or elsewhere, you're never going to find them. I wish there was an in-app directory of every custom playlist, or rather any playlist people want to make public, they could easily search for. For example, one of the problems I ran into with my own playlist for the composers is that it was hard to get people to know about them. Yeah, I could promote them on my own channel, which I did, once, and on social media, but it only has so much reach. I need to reach the Nintendo Music demographic, and there was really no good way of telling them about my playlists, which, is unfortunate. I wish there was an easier way for people like me to look for others' playlists and see what they're putting together. Like, if I could have like a workout playlist, that'd be amazing. I'm sure someone's made it, I just don't know where to find it. Speaking of which, Nintendo, you really have to add Punch-Out Wii soundtrack to Nintendo Music. It's so freaking good. Finally, I think my next one's pretty obvious, and I think Nintendo Music should be an app on the Switch 2 itself. Not only would it be convenient, especially if I could hop between soundtracks in the game itself through like an in-game toggle or in-app toggle, I suppose. Like, if I'm listening to music on the Switch 2 and I want to play the game, how cool would it be if I could just hop into the game directly via the Switch 2 app? But beyond that is I think they could even incorporate it into other games. Imagine playing Mario Kart or any racing game where you can bring in music from outside via Nintendo Music. So if I want to play like Kirby Air Riders or the Mario Kart song, why not? Nintendo actually did something just like this back in the Wii era with a handful of games like Excite Truck. You could actually put songs on your SD card via an MP3 format and listen to them in-game. You can listen to Offspring while playing Excite Truck if you wanted to. How freaking cool was that? And Nintendo can now do something very similar on Switch 2 with their own music in their own games, and it will be kind of amazing. So those are all my critiques for the app. Most of them are relatively minor, minus the composer one, which they absolutely do need to fix. But putting that aside, again, I think Nintendo Music is kind of killing it right now. They're doing an amazing job providing a meaningful app with actually good content and a good interface as well, with some unique features that only Nintendo could deliver. And I have to say, hats off to Nintendo. Hey, my hair's not too messy, luckily. But yeah, hats off to Nintendo for making a really good app that also adds immense value to the Switch Online service. This is exactly the kind of thing I want them to be making more of, and I'm hoping they'll figure out whatever the heck Nintendo Today is so they can make that app similarly meaningful, because right now, it's not it. But again, this isn't a Nintendo Today video. I made enough of those. It's a Nintendo Music video, and they really crushed it with it so far, and I can't wait to see them continue to build on it. But again, Nintendo, please add composer credits to your Nintendo Music app. It is incredibly important. Again, one of your own composers even said so themselves. But if you would like to check out my previous playlists I made for the composers, which are no longer being updated, sadly. I'll link to the description below, because I think they do have value, especially if you want to find out more from your favorite composer who is currently in the app. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Nintendo's apps in the future and everything else Nintendo here as well. Catch you later. Bye, everyone. Side note, I really screwed up making this a freaking green screen video when there's grain in the entire logo. I had to mask this entire thing, go frame by frame, to retain the green. It was so freaking annoying. I don't know why I'm including this, I just need you guys to know my pain. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. Bye.